I'll share
Welcome
now.
to another episode.
12. Yeah,
Book 12.
book
So
number
what you got
12.
today, Chris?
The book today is a book called The Botany of Desire. Let me pull this one up here on my screen. Let me know when you can see it. Can you guys see that?
I can see it now.
Okay. So this book is called The Botany of Desire, and it's a plant's eye view of the world by the author Michael Pollan. This author is becoming one of my favorite authors. He wrote another great book that I read. It was called Cooked that we'll do like way later on down the road. But he also has a few other really cool books that I want to check out. He's a great author. I think you guys would both enjoy him. Have either one of you read this one by chance?
No, I have not.
Okay, awesome. Well,
I think I have it in my anti-library.
you guys are in for a treat if you decide to go down this one. Quick high-level review of what the book's about. Michael Pollan, the author, presents case studies that mirror 4 types of human desires that are reflected with how we selectively grow, breed, and genetically engineer our plants. The 4 plants he picks and the human desire that he ties it to is the tulip, which he ties to beauty, cannabis, which he ties to intoxication, the apple, which he ties to sweetness, and the potato, which he ties to control. So this is like the history of those plants and how they've spread and that produce that desire. So my reflection, as you can see, the title is We're All Unique, Embrace It. Did you guys know that every apple seed is 100% genetically unique from every other apple seed? There's no duplicate apple seeds out there that are genetically the same. Did you guys know that out of curiosity?
I did not know specifically, but I would agree because I don't think anything's the same because you talking about, how everybody is unique. Everybody have some slight different type of DNA.
Right.
And I think plants does the same way.
I don't know, Blake, what do you
Other
say?
plants, do they have identical seeds, other plants?
No, they don't.
No.
No, I did not know this. So I said in this reflection, I literally did not know that. I thought there was Honeycrisp trees and Golden Delicious trees and whatever other fable, a Fuji apple tree or whatever. I thought there was like, tree farms with like, apple trees. Like, hey, we just grow Fuji apple trees here and we use Fuji apple seeds or whatever it may be. No, what I found out in this book is there's only one Honeycrisp tree that's ever been and will ever be in the history of the world, right? So what they do is they end up grafting, like they do with like vines and stuff like that for grapes, where it blends the DNA together and they end up getting a similar produced product, which is how we see at the supermarket. Like, you think that there's only 10 varieties of apples or something like that. There's like hundreds and millions and thousands, unending amount of apples that can be produced in this world. I had no idea. It kind of blew my mind. All the plants are like that, right? I just didn't know. What ended up happening was at one point, somebody planted some apple seeds, a tree grew, they liked Honeycrisp, and they were like, oh, this is really good and sweet. It was the only unique apple in the world, so they figured out a way to mass produce it, and that's how we get our supermarkets. So for me, my reflection was like uncovering this information on this journey. It reminded me, as Trieu was saying, of humans. We are all 100% unique. There is no other Blake out there in the world. There is no other Chris Sears out there in the world.
Twins.
Everybody is 100% unique. I almost feel bad for all the other apples these days because we've basically systematically eliminated all the other varieties of apples from ever having a chance, and we've mass produced the same damn apple. Yeah, it's great for the Honeycrisp, but what about all the other millions of apples that nobody will ever get a chance to sample and see? Maybe there's something way better out there. That's my reflection. We're all 100% unique and embrace it. I would hate to see only 10 humans out there. If we mass duplicated the same human all over the place and we all had a similar look and size and feel, I just feel like we should all embrace our uniqueness, and that's something to be proud of. So the question for you guys is, what are your thoughts on that at a high level? And then the question for the day is, what makes you guys unique, and what are your thoughts around that?
Well, one thing that sticks out to me is I think society kind of almost wants us to go against being unique. It seems like we have to talk a certain way, fit a certain mold, act a certain way. And I think everybody wants to be liked and do what's popular and what's cool. I think people aren't comfortable enough in their own skin and don't let necessarily their unique selves always come through. I think they oftentimes kind of hide that. And I think it's sad, but I think it's something we should all embrace. Some people aren't going to like you for who you are, and that's okay. But the people that are going to be the people you really connect with. I wish people would embrace that uniqueness a little bit more.
I agree. I hate the fact that we have to feel like we have to conform and label. We're so obsessed with organization and labeling and trying to make things into this nice, consistent end product. And like, that's not how the universe works. I echo what you're saying. I wish everybody had the ability to be unique, but in an ecosystem where we could all thrive. So to not take away that uniqueness, because you could be missing that. I'm sure there's another apple out there that's better than Honeycrisp. That's my favorite apple, but I didn't even know they existed. Shame on me. And I want to go out there and find one.
And I'd rather people be unique and not thrive and find their place than try to be someone or something that they're not and do pretty well and constantly be fighting who they are and what their interests are. And I think we could do a lot more if we just tried to stay true to ourselves and be who we are.
What are your thoughts?
So when you say your favorite apple is Honeycrisp, but I bet you someone else's favorite apple is some other apples. And that's what makes you unique, because you unique makes that also unique. And I think being unique is good. And I agree with Blake on his take on the social kind of like conditioning for you to be not unique. I think, so I want to add on top of what Blake had said, in terms of, I think we as a human person wants to be unique, but because of the environment and conditioning that we want to be, so there's a conflicting, I guess, a conflicting features, for lack of a better word, that we want, meaning we want to be unique, but at the same time, we want to feel we're accepted by society.
Yeah.
So we try to mimic somebody who is the model of that society. And when we try to mimic them, we want to be like them. But that's only to the extent of wanting to belong, but deep down, we still want to be unique.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's a weird polarity, I guess, because you're right.
Right.
One of our things that we do really well is mirror each other. And we also are really good at labeling stuff.
Yeah, but I think the question going forward is, should you be like somebody that is ideal or unique? And I think I would pick the option of being unique, because when we want to be like someone else, back in the old days when we have small tribe and we don't want to be left behind, we try to mimic the leaders. We want to mimic the guy who has the most, I guess, popularity to be accepted by them, so that we don't get the fear of left behind. But that is no longer the case in modern society. So I think embracing your uniqueness should be what we focus on. The other thing we need to do is condition ourselves not to fall into the prey of wanting to be like another person just to belong.
Right.
Because that's no longer the modern society.
Right. Yeah, I feel like there's a hybrid model here that goes back to balance. There's a happy medium where you can still be yourself and your authentic self, I guess, if you will, and be able to express your core values and go live out your own mission and try to be the best, unique apple that you can be, I guess. But at the same time, one of the things we're so good at is societal structure and mimicking each other and helping each other. I feel like there's a happy median here that goes back to balance, which is our mission, the high low. Like someday, I mean, that's kind of what Clubany is all about, right? Just trying to find that
we
harmony.
Unite on the commonalities, retain the uniqueness to bring to that tribe, because we have some common goal, common values. That's why we unite together in the tribe. But at the same time, once in a tribe, you want to be unique. So there's that balance you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you look at music, how people dress, and it's crazy that, how often you'll say you liked a movie or listen to a certain kind of music when you really might not like it, but it's what everyone's doing. In society, a man's supposed to act a certain way or look a certain way, and people try to become that.
That's what makes us unique, to be connected in such a common way. So you think about what make us prosper as a species is of that feature, is we unite together. And like we talked about before, we unite together. We're not as fast as a cheetah. We're not as strong as a gorilla, but we can take down a woolly mammoth. because we unite on common needs, common values, whatever the case may be, make us unique species, make us a species that is formidable. At the same time, we crave to be unique as well. So I think there is a fine medium between those two that we have to juggle and balance. You disagree?
Oh, I thought, Blake, that was you.
That common connection thing. I think when it comes to values and positive traits, I think that's true. I wonder, why do you have to connect with someone? It's things like interests or how you present yourself. I think as a society, if someone is different than us, we aren't very accepting. I don't understand why that is, but I think that should be okay to, like a different style or talk a different way or have a different interest or a different opinion on a book and say like, oh, whoa, you think differently than me? Well, we can't be friends. I wish there was still a way to have a discussion and come together, even though you don't have the same view on something.
There needs to be a common thread, a common shared value or purpose or mission that we're all going after. That could be a foundational element to then allow that other person to survive and thrive and be unique in that environment. I think that's the balanced, equation of all this stuff. At the end of the day, I think we're on the right page. I just finished a book this weekend. It was called Free Agent Nation. It's about people leaving the organization and going free agent, going rogue. And there's a lot of great things to that, where you get so much freedom and flexibility. But at the same time, there's some advantages to the organization. There's security, there's the ability to connect and socialize. Like, I think the mixture is a hybrid. There is no the polarity conversation we had a few weeks ago on the Kabbalion book. I mean, there's always a pole to both sides. And I think 100% everybody being unique doesn't work. 100% everybody being a Honeycrisp doesn't work. But like somewhere in between where
it has to have a right amount, a right ratio, just like any recipe, too much salt is not good. So you have to balance the salt and the sugar. It's finding that right balance, that right ratio and proportion. I think that would be the key. And unfortunately, we don't know what that is at the moment, but it's something we can strive for.
Agreed.
This makes me think of people in politics where they try to say, oh, you're this or you're that, instead of just being your own unique apple and saying, well, I believe this. I don't want to be labeled as this.
Yeah.
I wish.
But we all have the same fundamental underlying principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness under the Declaration of Independence. So as long as we all agree that that's cool, then yeah, be your own unique apple in that environment, right? Like, but you have to have some sort of a baseline, alignment.
A bit of commonalities, a little bit of uniqueness. That's the formula.
We can't have freedom and uniqueness without some thread of commonality amongst everybody.
With great power comes great responsibility. That's what Uncle Ben said.
Nice.
Okay,
fellas. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I guess with that, we bid you adieu and comment if you feel like and you have something to say.
Love it. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time.